It's wonderful to see you all here and wonderful to see all of our friends on Zoom. We have more than 1,000 gathered in the room and online for our celebratory luncheon today. Everybody in the room, smile and say hi to our Zoom friends. You're on camera. Good. Everybody on Zoom, smile and say hi to us. Yay. Great. And I want to thank Tamara for joining me today here on the stage as our ASL interpreter. Thank you, Tamara. Delighted to have you here. We have many members gathered for this celebration, volunteers, donors, community partners, and grantees. The power of connections is here in this room. We're also really honored to have several elected officials from both the federal, state, and local levels, including Congressman Earl Blumenauer and his wife, Margaret Kirkpatrick, here today. Great to see you. Oregon State Treasurer Tobias Reed. Tobias, thank you for joining. And City of Gresham Council President Eddie Morales. Eddie, thank you for being with us. Thank you all for your public service and for the many ways that you help Oregonians thrive. Today is about all of you in the room and online around the state. You are Oregon's giving and caring community, Oregonians helping Oregonians and contributing to the important and inspiring work of OCF. For 50 years, OCF's tradition of bringing together people like you has created meaningful and lasting impact for our neighbors in need. Today, we celebrate your impact and the contributions of so many Oregonians helping Oregonians. We're joined today by 3 talented individuals, including Tammy, here, our ASL interpreter, and her partner, Amber Rowley, who will be trading places because it's a robust program. And thank you both for helping to share joy with so many more people. And our third special guest is Steve Pemberton, who you'll hear from later this afternoon. And each table has a copy of his book on the table, and the Lighthouse Effect, his latest book. And we're so pleased that one of you lucky table guests will get a copy of the book. At your place is a placemat that has the OCF anthem on it. And on the reverse side of the placemat, if you have a gold star, then you get to take home Steve's book. So sometime today during the luncheon, check your placemat. And if you get the gold star, you get the copy of the book. For those of you on Zoom, we'll place in the chat a link and you can take a look at Steve's book called The Lighthouse Effect. Okay, there's lots of excitement about the book. Great, Steve, this is gonna be good. The past few years especially have called all of us to do more, to give more, to be more for each other and for Oregon. And together we've done exactly that. I'm grateful to each and every one of you and every Oregonian who contributes to this ecosystem of good. Your generosity and your compassion, paired with the magnificence of this beautiful state, is what makes this such a special place for all of us to call home. At our family, as perhaps at yours, when we sit to table, especially on a celebratory occasion such as this one, we love to start our meal by expressing gratitude. And it's my pleasure to bring my friend and fellow OCF board member, Bobby Connor, to the stage to help us do just that. Bobby represents the Eastern Oregon region for us on the board, and she is the director of the Tamaslik Cultural Institute and a member of the Confederated Tribes of Umatilla. Bobby. Thank you, Kimberly.
This magnificent place in which we live today has been cherished for millennia. This land unites us. It is the cradle of our shared existence. It provides a vibrant and abundant home. OCF acknowledges all Indigenous people of the lands encompassed by Oregon, particularly the 9 federally recognized nations. We appreciate the ancestors and the descendants of these tribes, as well as Indigenous urban citizens, for their care of this land we love. OCF's statewide catalytic investments with Indigenous communities across a range of interests support local economies, bring communities together, and preserve Indigenous culture, language, and artistry. OCF's fingerprints over the years throughout Oregon include Temeslik Cultural Institute. 25 years ago, OCF was the first money in, supporting the tribally owned museum on the Umatilla Reservation on the Oregon Trail, now celebrating 25 years of sharing history of the Cayuse, Umatilla, and Walla Walla tribes. A conservation easement with the Nez Perce Nation will enhance fish habitat at the confluence of the Upper Wallowa River and Wallowa Lake in the homeland of the Walwama in Wallowa County. The Burns Paiute Tukwatone Culture and Heritage Center offers a blend of entrepreneurship training, cultural development, and an improved business location, providing both a cultural and economic boost to Harney County. Increasing economic vitality of the Warm Springs Reservation, addressing unemployment and creating a hub for thriving entrepreneurs and a revitalized commissary will link Warm Springs more firmly to the state's tourism and economic growth. Portland is home to the 9th largest urban Indigenous community in the United States, 9th. OCF's grant to NAYA, the Native American Youth and Family Center, provides a safe and secure campus and adds resources for programs. OCF has awarded fellowships to individual Indigenous artists and supports tangible and intangible forms of cultural resistance across the state. We are privileged to work with so many strong tribal partners with rich traditions and projects, investing in Indigenous knowledge and communities that stretch back to time immemorial helps us all, preserving the legacy of this place we know and love.
Thank you, Bobby, and thank you for sharing the gratitude that we all have for the beautiful lands of Oregon and the special stewards that are caring for our beautiful state. And thank you all for being here to celebrate this special occasion. I want to acknowledge our amazing board colleagues from around the state, including several past directors who are here today from every corner of Oregon. So if you are a current or former trustee, but board of director, would you please stand and be recognized? Their pictures are on the screen. I'm incredibly grateful to all of these individuals for their generosity of leadership in support of OCF mission, vision, and values. It's an amazing group of people to work with indeed. Now, 3 of our wonderful board colleagues and friends have completed their board terms and served the full 8 years and are making way for new voices here at OCF. So this will be a little more fun with your participation, and that includes everybody on Zoom. So please join me in this effort. And it's really easy to celebrate these 3 amazing women. And you've all heard me say it before, but we aren't saying goodbye to them, because at OCF, it sort of gets in your heart and you always stay true and you always stay connected to OCF. So what we say is, once you're part of the OCF family, that's my part. And then for you, you get to say, You're always part of the OCF family. So we're going to practice this real quickly. I say, once you're part of the OCF family, you're always part of the OCF family. Yes, excellent. Great. This is going to be so much more fun. Thank you. So I'm inviting our 3 board members, and we're going to get to try it out on them. Penny Allen, board member from Bandon, representing the South Coast, chaired our Community Engagement Committee and is our current chair of the Arts Committee. She's also chaired the South Coast Leadership Council and championed the Children's Dental Health Initiative, taking it from a South Coast initiative to a statewide initiative during her time on the board. Penny's contributions will have lasting impact, and her smile is part of our hearts. Thank you, Penny. Now here's where everyone comes in. Penny, once you're part of the OCF family, you're always part of the OCF family. Thank you. Sabrina Parsons, board member from Eugene, representing the South Willamette Valley, ably chaired our Strategic Opportunities Committee, addressing a wide variety of topics from health to housing, from impact lending to economic development, and so much more. Sabrina was also a valuable member of the Executive Committee and a member of the CEO Search Committee. She chaired the South Willamette Valley Leadership Council for 8 years. Her energy and her strategic insights are remarkable, and they are embedded in the future of our work. Thank you, Sabrina. Awesome. Now, Sabrina joined the board with 3 young boys, none of whom were teenagers, and now the oldest is off just finishing his first year in college. So Sabrina, even though we know your kids are leaving the nest, your family is still growing, because look around you. Once you're part of the OCF family, oh, thank you. So Penny and Sabrina feel so celebrated as having this family with them. Carolyn Walker, board member from Portland, representing the metro area, chaired and expanded the Metro Leadership Council during her time on the board. She served on the Executive Committee for 5 years as a valuable member of the CEO Search Committee, the Governance Committee, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Committee, and so much more. Carolyn's thoughtfulness, her determination, and her generosity of spirit are a gift to us all. Thank you, Carolyn. And though, like Penny and Sabrina, you'll be missed as an active board member, but we know you won't go far, because once you're part of the OCF family, thank you. Thanks, everybody. As we look ahead to the next 50 years, we want to hear from all of you, from everyone, about your hopes for Oregon's future. If you haven't had an opportunity to do so yet, please share your voice and put it in one of OCF's time capsules. We have them in each of the regions, and we have a central one for the state. They'll all go together, and we'll have an opportunity to reflect on our collective hopes and dreams. For now, Penny, Sabrina, and Carolyn will all share a bit of their hopes and dreams and advice for imagining a better Oregon. Penny.
Over my years with OCF, I've been increasingly impressed and blown away by all who have given and be a part of OCF and continue to give so much of their time and their treasure to our state. As our world is ever rushing toward an unknown future, make OCF continue to be the beacon of help and hope for all Oregonians. And I'm proud to be a part of that effort. And I'm delighted to join you all as we move forward into a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny. I think there's so many things Oregon Community Foundation already does that I know make an impact. As I turn off and look at where OCF is today and where it will be in the next 50 years, as we're celebrating the first 50 years, there's 2 promises I would like to see OCF continue to make. Continue to foster inclusive philanthropy. I'd like to see Oregon Community Foundation continue to foster a culture of inclusive philanthropy, ensuring that all voices and perspectives are heard, valued, and have the opportunity to contribute towards the well-being of Oregon. Promote collaboration. One of the things I love about the Oregon Community Foundation is that it brings people together to listen to each other and work together. I want to see OCF drive innovation through continuous learning, collaboration, and respectful engagement with partners and stakeholders. I would like OCF to continue to work together with Oregonians to identify the most pressing needs of our community and to support collaborative solutions that have a lasting impact.
Thank you. It has been an unmitigated honor for me to serve as an OCF board member these past 8 years. And so I want to share a few words of advice with our incoming board members. You're going to be working with some of the most savvy, caring, and visionary people you will ever meet. And you should count yourselves among them. This board brings a diversity of ideas and experiences in carrying out its philanthropic mission. And you may not always agree with the views of your board colleagues. So please recognize the tremendous value of your diverse point of view and bring that voice to the conversation. This organization and this state of Oregon will be all the better for your unique perspective. Thank you.
Thank you all, and we encourage you to fill out those cards and put them in the time capsule as well. We know everyone in this room has a unique voice and a diverse perspective that you bring to creating a better Oregon. So we encourage you all to participate in that. Thank you. For those of you on Zoom, there is a way for you to do that virtually as well. And now my term as board chair has come to a close, and I have an opportunity to pass the torch of board leadership to my friend and colleague, our next board chair, Lane Shetterly from Dallas, Oregon. And as I do so, Lane, I'm passing the warmth and light and hope for the legacy and impact to continue advancing opportunities for all Oregonians in the years ahead. Lane Shetterly.
Well done. Thank you, Kimberly. Wow, we are a lot of people. It is great to see you all here today and to feel the energy in this room for doing good for Oregon. Kimberly, I want to thank you. Your leadership and your service has been remarkable for OCF, for Oregon, and for so many important issues that we are leaning in to solve. You are a true public servant, and I am proud to serve alongside you, although I have some trepidation about succeeding you as president and chair of OCF. And now I want to introduce you all to 3 new board members, 2 of whom are with us today. One was not able to join us, but I want to acknowledge all 3 of the new board members. First, Caddy McEwen. Caddy, where are you? There she is. Caddy comes to us from Coos Bay, representing the South Coast. Julie Manning. Julie joins us from the board from Corvallis, representing the Southern Willamette Valley. And we are also pleased to announce the addition of Monica Enand as a new board member from the Portland Metro region. And now it is my great pleasure to welcome home to Oregon Community Foundation's 4th leader in 5 decades, President and CEO Lisa Mensah. Lisa has journeyed from Beaverton to New York to Washington, D.C., and parts afar, and now comes back to us to be with us and to bless us in Oregon. Lisa has spent a career thinking about the power of money to change things. She began her career in banking. She spent impactful years at the Ford Foundation, continued at the Aspen Institute, and as Undersecretary of Agriculture for Rural Development in the Obama administration, managed a $215 billion loan portfolio for rural America. Most recently, she has served as Executive Director of Opportunity Finance Network, the leading national network of community development financial institutions. Following this illustrious career in national leadership positions focused on rural poverty, community lending, and community development, we get to welcome Lisa home to carry forward a 5-decade tradition of stewardship and vision for Oregon's best and brightest future. Please join me in saying welcome home and welcome to the helm of Oregon Community Foundation. I give you Lisa Mensah.
And I connect with both the virtual audience and the people in the room. I'm just filled with joy and gratitude. I am home and it feels great. Today, I see so many familiar faces, those who've been championing this remarkable giving and caring community for 50 years. And I'm so honored to be here and to be standing on the shoulders of past leaders. I want to think about Greg Chalet today, whose daughter Adrian is here. Adrian, where are you? Thank you for coming. I want to thank Max Williams, who is here. Max, where are you? Thank you. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Gina. Thank you for your beautiful introduction to the work of this community foundation. Thank you to the First 50 Committee, who gave their time and their insights and their knowledge for so many years to celebrate this celebration, to help us design it. I'm also here standing on the shoulders of many elders, people like Ron Herndon, who's been steadfast in his vision and leadership, and an activist for Oregon's kids. Thank you, Ron, for helping me figure out. I'm also standing on the shoulders of so many around this state that I've met with, who like me have promise, vision, and values. We're holding Oregon in our hearts and in our actions. So when I thought about a 50th anniversary, I thought about a Ghanaian proverb. Many of you know my dad was from Ghana, and it's a proverb that is called Sankofa. And it says that one must remember the past to go forward in the future. And if you've heard of Sankofa, it's symbolized by a bird. And the bird is craning its neck backwards over its back. And the symbol is really to remind us that going forward means that you have to take the best from what's behind you. So as you think about a 50-year anniversary, I just ask you all to be holding in your mind, what's something we've learned in the past that we can take forward in the future? Because that's where we're heading. We have vision. We want to go forward. We are building a foundation for the people who will come next and the people who have yet to be born. So I am here. I am inspired by those who will help ensure that the Oregon Community Foundation can continue to bring positive change for this state. Now, I've been traveling. I've traveled from Warm Springs to Madras to the Wallowas, the Willamette Valley. I've gone from Portland to Pendleton. I've been in the Illinois Valley, the Rogue Valley, and all points in between. And I've seen so many of you in this room on my travels. So I want to thank you for coming and having lunch today. But even more, I want to thank you all for bringing your imagination, your dreams, your hard work, and your innovation. All of you have made the decision to choose Oregon. Now, when Oregon Community Foundation's founders chose Oregon in 1973, they chose the potential for building a lasting change in our towns, our state, and our world. They chose hope and a vision of what's possible, even if they could only imagine it. Now, we know that Oregon 50 years ago was a different place in many respects. Timber and agriculture still dominated the state's economy and built its cities. Yet as those industries changed, Oregonians adapted. We've always seen innovation and solutions as a way forward. Innovation laid the foundation for the emerging semiconductor industry that would become our critical silicon forest. By passing the nation's first bottle bill and public beach bill, Oregon set a precedent for preserving land and environment. And in 1973, Oregon had half as many people as we do today. We also know it was far less diverse and inclusive. And yet amid these dynamics, 50 years ago, a group of bankers and businessmen and families, all Oregonians, thought about our future and chose to invest in improving lives. That was the roots of the Oregon Community Foundation. Those founders had an idea about a new organization, a new model of philanthropy that enabled donors to pool their resources for greater impact. They would bring together the effort of a few to make an impact for the many. They said nothing will deter us, not the market, not the problems we can't anticipate. We want to build trust and feel excited about our future. And they said that when things go sideways, knowing that an Oregon Community Foundation is steady and in place, that'll be a comfort. They said we see ourselves across this state in all corners, and we want donors and community partners and volunteers and grantees to see themselves inside of the Oregon Community Foundation. And they asked, what can $63,000, that was the initial amount, and a small staff and a passionate group of volunteers achieve? And their answer was, they created impact far beyond what this group could have seen. So today, I'm so proud to join hands with a 50-year tradition at the Oregon Community Foundation that has generated more than $2 billion of grants touching every county in Oregon. I think it's amazing. It's really an astounding number, propelled by a huge volume of very small grants. That $2 billion didn't go out in big chunks. It went out in tiny chunks. And it's grants that emerge through listening and trusting people's ideas to help make change. It's investments that pay attention to tiny details with an eye toward big impact. Last year, OCF donors supported nearly 10,000 grants and 3,000 scholarships, totaling more than $170 million. That was just in 1 year. And together, we've chosen Oregon, and it's made a difference. So thank you. That's big. So my journey with this foundation began only last year. And as some of you know, and as Lane said, I chose to come back home. I came back home because, sure, I knew we had our challenges, but they seemed to me to be the same challenges that I've been working on my entire life. I've been leading rural economic development initiatives across the country, and I've experienced the power of working together to tackle a range of issues at the local level. And so I'm joining you to work on these same issues here in Oregon. Now, growing up in Beaverton as a child of an immigrant from Ghana and an Oregon mom with roots in Iowa, I was the brown kid that didn't look like anyone else on my street except my brother and sister. I was different. It was often hard, and I certainly didn't have everyone's experience. But within that difference, I found more people who loved than hated. From my Oregon family and my neighbors, I learned early and often how essential community is and really what it feels like to belong. For me, every June, the day after school was out, I rode the bus with all the other kids going to pick strawberries in the Willamette Valley. I know there are other strawberry pickers out here. Right after, you didn't even get a break. During the school year, I was in that Bluebird troop with all the other girls in my class. And at a time when many swimming pools around the country were still segregated, I was swimming in the neighborhood pool that Annie Dixie invited us all to. I was the kid that when I finished high school, I received the scholarships, giving me a chance to advance. My collective scholarships were created sometimes at $200 at a time, and sometimes from some humble organizations who gave what they could to make a difference in my life. So many people believed in me. My community launched me into the world. They didn't know what I would do with my career or my degree. They just backed my potential. So why did I came home? Because Oregon's always been a place of hope to me. And to me, hope is the one thing that can transcend pain. I've learned that positive change can be shaped with the right combination of resources, of hard work, of people, and of vision. I've worked on a national scale, solving local problems for decades, and I know we must trust local voices to create working solution. I know that practical things happen when you work with local people and you bring the right resources to them. So I'm back home because I believe the scale of our problems is manageable. 40,000 kids are born every year in Oregon, and I know we can get them to read. Come on. I know we can nurture our children and show them that they all belong here. And I know we can get art and music into their hands. I know we can do this. I also know we can put a roof over their heads and food in their mouths. We can invite them to dream and reach their full potential. We really can. We have the will. I know that solutions are possible, and I know it can happen here. I'm back home because I believe in 2023, we can continue to show the rest of the country that some of our biggest problems can be solved. So in 2023, today, I choose Oregon again. So. We're going to work on this whole theme of choosing Oregon because I don't say it lightly. I also know that there is deep and hard and meaningful work ahead of us, but I believe we know what to do. I've only begun my journey to connect to this state again, but I see remarkable examples of people in every corner of Oregon giving their time, their expertise, their money, and their passion to show how their choices are making a difference. Their innovation and their solutions are working. They're choosing Oregon. I think Oregons know the work of housing our neighbors is hard, but I think Oregonians also know what to do. We need to house people, a room, a bed, a roof at a time. And we need to do that with dignity and with services to move folks forward and contribute. And when I say this, yes, let's cheer about housing. Somebody needs to do this. And you know, here's what I know. We need housing on all points of the spectrum. We need homes for the veterans. We need homes for fire victims. We need homes for working families or the backbone of our economy. With rent or a mortgage that doesn't force people to choose between food or healthcare or shelter. Now, on issues like literacy, we know that accessing early literacy tools is hard, and it's even more challenging if a family is bilingual. And Oregonians know what to do. I had the pleasure of meeting the working mom and entrepreneur, Gabriela Padan. And she's shown us how engaging Spanish-speaking families and making parents the first and most critical teacher for their children, that's the right path. She showed me that when you focus on early literacy, you get the brain development for future success. She's shown that making books available in both Spanish and English, that's what's essential to support bilingual families. And as a volunteer, an educator, and a bilingual speaker herself, Gabriela has created a family literacy support program, and her dedication and her solutions are working, and we need to keep helping her. I think another thing that Oregonians know is that the work of preserving our beautiful lands and landscapes is hard. And Indigenous Native Oregonians have shown us what to do. They know that treated forests don't burn as intensely. Crews from the Lomakatsi Restoration Project in Southern Oregon are working methodically across those steep slopes. They're thinning trees to reduce the risk of destructive megafires and carefully reintroducing healthy fire. This is a path to getting out of this cycle, and we're proud to support the work like Lomakatsi. Beautiful work. Oregonians also know that prioritizing arts and culture is hard amid so many other financial priorities, but it's so important. Didn't we love starting this thing with that beautiful choir? I mean, arts are so important. Yeah, it's beautiful. I don't know if they're still here. The good thing is we know what to do to keep our arts thriving, because they'll fail if we don't invest. We believe in the literary arts. We believe in the symphony, the Portland Art Museum, and the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. These are treasures. Yes. There are treasures, and they inspire and heal and teach us and build culture and connection, all the while that they are sustaining our local economies. So yes, we've got a lot of work ahead of us in this room, but we have it in us, you and me and everyone in the room and on the Zoom. I believe that Oregonians just can't see it any other way. We're the kind of people who crave real impact, and we're the kind of people who know our communities best. So I say, when you choose Oregon, when I chose Oregon, we all choose hope, and we all choose solutions. And you know, the consequences of not choosing Oregon, of not choosing our state, they are very dire. It's high school graduation rates that plummet beyond recovery. It's fires that just continue to obliterate communities every year. It's a housing crisis that leaves families with no safe choices. And it's racial and geographic and economic disparities that diminish our communities and absolutely prevent people from thriving. We're better than this. We are better than this. These are issues that are surmountable. I believe the fixes are already identified. I believe the roadmap is already there. And I believe that Oregon Community Foundation is in a unique position to be a matchmaker for the resources to solve the problems. That's us. So how do we take action this year in 2023? Well, there's no one way to choose Oregon. We've evolved to know that we are a very diverse group of people from many different backgrounds and regions who choose Oregon in a variety of ways. But one thing is really clear. We need all of you. Whether you're volunteering at a food bank, starting or leading a business enterprise, engaging in civil discourse, whether you're beginning a fund with $4,000 or you give $400,000 from your retirement savings, we need all givers. We celebrate amazing gifts like the $400 million investment in an ambitious community effort. Thank you, Phil Knight. Congratulations, Rukaya and Phil. This is a remarkable, remarkable moment. What's key here is that everyone has a voice and everyone has agency. And we're standing with the same choice that our founders had 50 years ago. Oregon's bright future is in our collective hands at this moment. It is possible to do something that will set a ball rolling for our future. This is hard work, and we know what to do. This is our state. These are our neighbors. This is our home, and together we're going to choose Oregon. Thank you.
Oregonians are generators of abundance. For 50 years, we've helped each other thrive.
From safe shelters to art supplies, we've stepped up when someone needed support.
Leaned in when they needed help, dug deep when they needed food, gave back when given the chance.
And we're getting better at doing it all more equitably.
The past few years have been some of our most challenging. And what did we do?
We helped each other. We marched, we fought fires, we dropped off groceries and gave.
We gave more than ever before.
Which tells us that in our next 50 years, Oregonians helping Oregonians through thick and thin will continue to lift us all.
Oregon, as your statewide community foundation, we celebrate our 50th anniversary in honor of you.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it sing. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, it's shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.